What do you say, everybody? We're back. Hey, like and subscribe as you hang out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. He's Andrew Bone. I'm Mick Gillispie. It's time for Recruiting with Andrew Bone here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Part of On3. Like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and hit the bell so you know when we're live. Share with your friends, too. If you want to know or your friends want to know or anyone wants to know about Alabama recruiting, we got you covered. What's up, Bone?
Oh, not much, Mick. How you doing, man? In this weather real nice right now?
Hey, look, I had the boat out twice over the weekend. Today, the bay was slick as glass, although I didn't get out there. But I love it, man. I love this time of year. We're like 10 degrees over the average, right? So I was complaining. You know this. I wanted to move to Key West because it was so cold in like April. And now here we are. It's like we live in Key West.
Well, it's a little bit more tropical where you are, but my my back porch has been pretty nice the last this last week or two, and we went out to a brewery this past weekend, and we tried to get out as much as we possibly can with our son, and he was. He was all over the place. He's 100 miles an hour these days, so he had a good time.
Are you a craft beer guy?
Yeah, not really. I like to go out and have a good time. Whatever brewery it is, I'm not really. My friends are these diehards, just IPA guys, and
That's me.
They can drink 10 of them and be okay. I'll drink 2 of them and be ready to go to sleep. Yeah. I mean, I like going to breweries, but I'm not big in, like, I'm not going to, if I go to, any sort of bar or restaurant, it's still going to be a Miller Lite for me.
I want to have you, Kyle Henderson, some of our friends, Chris Daughtry, all the gang. I want to have them on my mixed beer review show at some point, but it's craft beer. I mean, look, we wouldn't review Miller Lite.
And I'm not going to turn it down. I'll drink a beer, but
okay.
And I don't know. It's just a habit when you go to a restaurant, you sit down. Now if I'm at a nice restaurant or somewhere like that, I'm gonna probably drink a nice glass of wine. I'm gonna have cocktail before dinner. Typically an old fashioned.
Good call.
Like that, but
yeah.
If I just sit down at a table, if I'm at a regular bar and they have this extensive beer menu, 100 type of beers on tap, they probably look at me like, "What's this idiot doing?"
Yeah, who's this guy? Nah, they like having you there.
I used to be a Coors Light guy. I was a Coors Light guy. Sorry, mom and dad, but
banquet beer
from high school to way after college, I was just straight up Coors Light, and then it became Miller Lite. I don't know why. I think when they went back to the old fashioned logo, I started drinking it more, but people didn't realize that this was going to be an alcohol discussion show tonight.
It's not, Bone. We're just drawing everyone in. And guys, as I mentioned, and also as you hang out with us, comment section fired up. Always great to see all you guys there as Bone and I talk recruiting. We're 2 weeks away, less now, from spring practice. And this weekend, Alabama had its junior day, another junior day. And a few 5-stars on campus. Jalen Mbakwe was there. He ended up being a commitment of Alabama. The Tide also had one of the nation's best players, number 1 overall recruit, Dylan Stewart, 5-star DL, Dominic McKinley. Give us an idea of how Nick Saban did with these guys, and are they all going to announce for Alabama this week? And if they do, let's have a beer and celebrate.
Right. Yeah, exactly. One thing people should understand about junior days, a lot of these junior days are more meet and greet type events. You've been evaluated during your junior season. Sometimes they're sophomores. Sometimes you'll see some freshmen at these events. And even this past weekend, we saw an 8th grader that made his way to Tuscaloosa. So junior days are no longer junior days. They're pretty much, anybody that, is being heavily recruited by Alabama or they have interest in they're going to get invited no matter what class they're in. So I never really understand why they're called junior days anymore, but they're more meet and greet. You come in town. A lot of these kids are visiting for the very first time, especially the out of state guys, the out of region guys. A guy like Dylan Stewart from Washington D.C. You might have kids from California or Illinois or the Northeast or Miami that are visiting Alabama for the first time, trying to establish a relationship with the coaches. Now, they may have been talking to these guys over the phone. They may have been talking to them through social media. They may have watched the videos. They may have had a Zoom call with these coaches, but they've never seen the campus. They've never actually had a sit-down conversation with Nick Saban. So that's what these junior days are all about. You try to get as many kids on campus as you can, and you're not necessarily pressing for kids to come. You want kids to come. You want kids to see your campus, but you really want them there during the spring. You want them there during the summer, whether that's going through football camp or going through spring meetings, team meetings, position group meetings, watching the players actually practice. Those are very important to try to get those kids on campus to see that type of stuff and to try to get a feel if this is a place that, they can see themselves at here in the future. So for these junior days, it's, hey, get here, introduce yourself to the coaching staff, tour the campus, see the facilities, meet with Nick Saban, see what Alabama has to offer academically, and meet with some of the players. They have a players panel with different leaders on the team. They even have some freshmen that have been there for just a few, I guess a few months now. I was about to say a few weeks, but we're already in March, so they've been there a few months now. So they get an opportunity to spend some time with those guys, pick their brain a little bit, what it's like, especially the freshmen, what it's like when you enroll early and start going through practice, because those guys were in high school just last year, so they get a little bit of a better feel from those guys what it's like right off the bat. So there was a big collection of kids that were in Tuscaloosa this weekend, probably more so than what we saw from the first two junior days. Alabama had a junior day on the 14th of January and then again on the 28th of January. Then we went into a dead period. Things opened back up last week. Kids started hitting up various college campuses, seeing as many schools as they could. Many of them just able to visit one place, but many of them were able to visit multiple places last week. And, we saw, some of the biggest names in the country on Alabama's campus, including Dylan Stewart, the number one overall player in the country, according to On3 Sports. And you look at his ranking right there, industry comparison, the average out right there is number 23 overall in the country, but On3 Sports specifically ranks him number one overall. I mean, this is a kid who, very similar to last year's number one edge rusher in the country, Keon Keeley, who signed with Alabama. 6'5", 235 pounds. He is an impressive looking specimen. Had a great junior season, and this was his first visit to Alabama. He never visited Alabama before, even though he had been offered by the Tide last year, even before his junior season. So this is a guy that Alabama has known about for quite a while. They've recruited him for a long time and made a really strong impression on him this weekend. He spoke very highly about his trip. He plans on returning to Tuscaloosa in June for an official visit. And I think Alabama's right in the thick of things with Dylan Stewart. I certainly encourage anyone who's watching our show tonight. I have an insider report, just an in-depth look at all of these guys who visited this past weekend, whether it's Dylan Stewart, Dominic McKinley, Ryan Wingo, a lot of big names that we'll, discuss a little bit on the show tonight. But the majority of the in-depth info regarding where things stand in their recruitment is in that insider report on the front page of BamaInsider.com right now. So I certainly encourage everyone who's watching to go check that out this evening. But Dylan Stewart, certainly a kid that we're going to be watching very closely over the next few months. South Carolina, Georgia, Maryland, all contenders in his recruitment. I know he's going to take a few other visits throughout the spring, try to kind of figure out what his official visit schedule is going to look like here in the summer. That's kind of what a lot of these official visits and spring visits are all about. Kids are going to as many campuses as they can, seeing the schools that they like. Because you look at a prospects top group right now, and it's it's not – most of these kids don't have top 5s right now. They're top 15s. They're top 20s. They're top 12s. I know a lot of people look at it like, oh, that's stupid. Who cares? Well, they care because these are the schools that are heavily recruiting them, that they're interested in, and they're taking those visits right now to try to figure out who's going to be in that top 5, who's going to be in that top 3. We don't really see a ton of decisions right now, and a lot of that's because you can start taking official visits in April. So the official visits start in April. You can take them, throughout the summer. A lot of kids try to take all their official visits in the month of June and then make that decision before the start of their senior season. So right now it's all about trying to figure out who's going to make that official visit list. So getting these kids on campus, very important, for a lot of these colleges, not just right now, but really throughout the entire spring. Like I said earlier, if you can get them on campus, regardless if it's junior day, spring practice, a spring scrimmage, the A-Day game, all really good times to get these guys on campus and try to establish that relationship. But Dylan Stewart, big visitor on campus for Alabama this past weekend.
And don't forget, as Bone mentioned, $29.99. You can get BamaInsider.com, all the coverage, him, Joseph Hastings, the entire On3 crew, and it's just going to get better. I'm just winking. I'm telling you guys, we're changing the face of team sites right now. It's happening. It's a new world order of everything that's going on. Take advantage of this. It's good. $29.99 from today until August 31st, 2023. So it's a great opportunity, or $9.99 a month, but so much going on. We're going to have you covered with it at BamaInsider.com. All right, let's talk about the 2 Georgia commitments who were in town. 2 guys Alabama is trying to flip.
Yeah, like I said, there were 2 Georgia commitments in Tuscaloosa, one in the 2024 class and one in 2025. The 2024 is the number 1 linebacker in the country, according to On3 Sports, and that's DeMarcus Riddick from Chilton County High School here in Clanton, Alabama. DeMarcus made an early commitment to Georgia, and this was before Alabama had extended him an offer. And we've seen some coaching changes in Tuscaloosa over the course of the last couple of months, from the defense coordinator change, couple inside linebacker changes, more inside linebacker changes, and at the coaching position than we imagined. But now everything's kind of settled in. You got some great guys on the staff with Kevin Still, a new guy, Robert Bala, who I think that he's starting to really start connecting with a lot of these top recruits throughout the country. And then you got some guys that have also recruited and know a lot of these kids. Charlie Strong. You've got Jake Long, who's coming in from Oregon. So you got a lot of guys on the defense side of the ball working in the recruiting office. They may not be on-field coaches, but they are working behind the scenes and developing relationships just like the on-field coaches are. So I think DeMarcus Riddick, I think he's a guy that we're going to be watching really closely. Can Alabama potentially flip him? Because this is a priority position of need for Alabama. They only signed 1 true inside linebacker in last year's recruiting class. Now, they did pick up a transfer in Tresman Marshall, but they really need inside linebackers. Now, Sterling Dixon already committed, plays on the edge, but is recruited mainly as an inside linebacker. Now you got DeMarcus Riddick, a big-time in-state kid that Georgia has his commitment right now, but he has expressed interest in continuing to visit other schools, continuing to keep an open mind. So Alabama and Auburn certainly pressing hard for DeMarcus Riddick, but getting him to Tuscaloosa this past weekend, huge for Alabama moving forward. Then the second one, Micah DeBose, 6'5", 315-pound offensive tackle out of Viger High School down in Pritchard. Now, Viger's been a school that has sent a lot of top recruits to Alabama in the past, and this is a school that they're going to continue to heavily recruit. He received an offer from the Tide just a few weeks ago, and quickly set up an unofficial visit. So he was able to get to Tuscaloosa, within about a month of him getting an offer from Alabama. Made that commitment to Georgia. I think it was the commitment actually happened before his offer from Alabama. So we'll see if things start to turn a little bit. We know that he's already developed a really good connection with Alabama offensive line coach Eric Wolford. So, these are certainly 2 guys that they would love to flip. It's gonna be tough because obviously Georgia recruits really well. They, certainly right there with Alabama. as far as being able to bring in elite recruits and being able to go into different states. And after what Alabama did in the state of Georgia last year, taking the top 2 recruits away from the Bulldogs and Justice Haynes and Caleb Downs, Georgia probably wants to return the favor. They want to get some top recruits out of Alabama and kind of beat Alabama in that way. So we'll see what's able to happen there. But yeah, 2 guys that I feel like, as of right now, I think Alabama's going to have a really good chance. We talk a little bit more, about things, in their recruitment in that insider report that's on BamaInsider.com.
Well, Bone, big announcement today. The show Recruiting with Andrew Bone is now brought to you by MyPerfectFranchise.net. This is exciting. Andy Luedecke is helping us. And he's helped a lot of people. And what he does is he's an experienced entrepreneur. He's a owner of multiple businesses, and he's helped other people go through the process that has helped change his life 10 plus years ago. So for those of you that are wanting a way out of corporate America, or like myself, want a side hustle business or a way to diversify, reach out to Andy. Ton of knowledge, huge sports fan. And he's definitely somebody that we're excited to work with. I think it's going to be great to have someone that is a father of 3, big football fan, part of our show.
And lives in Alabama. I mean, this is a guy that, is a huge football fan. He's not an Alabama fan, but he's not an Auburn fan, but that's okay. But he wanted to sponsor our show. He is, he does support Alabama and supports this show, supports our channel, supports the website. So we're really excited to have Andy Luedecke partnered up with us and a sponsor of our show. And yeah, if you're looking to own a franchise, he kind of puts you in the perfect situation. Comes up with a great plan for you. And so if you're looking to own your own business, definitely reach out to Andy, and he'll be happy to help you.
Awesome. So moving forward, he'll be a part of the show. I may have to reach out to him, Bone. After we kind of got into our beer show discussion, I'd love to know what he thinks about drinking cold beer and talking about it on camera. We're talking about Alabama football on camera right now, and we appreciate all you guys for being here as we go through the recruiting process. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Hit us with a thumbs up. That's a way of saying roll tide. And subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. Just a few years ago, Bone, when you recruited me as a 2-star prospect no, I'm just kidding. At least a 3-star, right? Out of the hosting game. Came over. We were at 31,000 subscribers. We're at like 85 right now. We want to get to 100,000 and beyond, because we want to have as many subscribers as there are seats at Bryant-Denny Stadium. But we love all of you guys. We appreciate you more than you know. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up and the bell so you know when we are live. No matter if it's our show, Monday Night Quarterback, Kyle Henderson pops on anytime there's breaking news. We're there. Nick Saban, press conferences, Nate Oates. We're going to follow the basketball team in, all that stuff as well. Spring practice will be on the roof of Westgate for the post-game shows as always. So we got a lot of cool stuff going on. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell. All right. Wanted to ask you about a couple other players, Bone, who were in attendance, including top 100 linebacker Justin Williams and top 100 wide receiver Ryan Wingo.
Yeah, the good thing about this past junior day is you had just so many top end guys that were able to make their trip to Tuscaloosa, and a lot of guys that Alabama considers top priorities. And I missed talking about Dominic McKinley earlier. You mentioned him earlier, 5-star defensive lineman out of Louisiana. He was also in Tuscaloosa, and had a lot of great things say about his trip to Alabama, which you can find that interview on BamaInsider.com, and kind of things where things stand in his recruitment. But he's certainly one of those guys to keep track on as we kind of move forward. Alabama would love to steal him out of the state of Louisiana. Defensive line certainly a big priority position, but Justin Williams right there listed at 190 pounds. I think he's a little bit bigger than that. I think he's over 200 right now. So that may have been entered a few months back or several months back. But yeah, I mean, he's certainly a kid that Alabama really likes a lot. I said earlier, inside linebacker is a big priority position, a need for Alabama in this class. And Justin Williams making a trip to Tuscaloosa, developing the relationship, getting back. This was his second time visiting Alabama. This is a guy that has a lot of interest in the Tide. There was there was some talk that Oregon was in the lead for him. They still might be. He hasn't really come out and said that they're the leader or he's got an overall leader at all. I think it's kind of more speculation. But one thing to keep in mind is he had a really good connection and relationship with Jake Long, the former Oregon defensive analyst who helped recruit him to Oregon, now at Alabama. Of course, he's an Alabama guy, played at Alabama, from Alabama, so he's going to be pushing hard to get Justin Williams to Tuscaloosa. So he at least has a connection there. We know that Alabama has recruited the state of Texas really well the last few years, and he's certainly going to be a priority target for Alabama for the next several months. And I expect that they will get an official visit from him. Ryan Wingo, we've seen Alabama's success also out of the St. Louis area. He plays at St. Louis University School. This was his first visit to Alabama, and he had an opportunity to sit down with Coach Saban. One thing kind of crazy, Missouri doesn't have spring football. So, Coach Saban, Alabama coaching staff, they like to go out during the spring and evaluate kids. It's called spring evaluations for a reason, because you're going out and you're evaluating kids during spring practice. And, if you can't see a kid during spring practice, you have to wait and see them in the summer. You got to get them to camp. So Coach Saban had a sit-down conversation with Ryan, and Ryan just received an offer from Alabama last month. So the relationship's kind of new, starting to grow. But Alabama also wants to see him a little bit more. Coach Saban asked him, he said, hey, I know you don't have spring practice, but we want you to go out there. We want you to film yourself running routes, doing all these different types of drills. And I'm sure they'll tell him exactly what they want to see, and he'll be sure to send it to him as quickly as possible. But yeah, they want to see him a little bit more. Probably will come back to participate in camp. Not 100% if he'll work out in camp, but he did say that he is definitely 100% coming back to Tuscaloosa. So obviously Alabama made a good impression. He's got a good relationship with Tommy Rees, Alabama's offensive coordinator, who has recruited him for the last 3 years to Notre Dame. Now he's in Tuscaloosa. Now he's recruiting him a little bit, but the relationship's going to be more with Holman Wiggins, the wide receivers coach, and his area recruiter, who done a tremendous job in the 2023 class, and Freddie Rhodes. So, Ryan Wingo, definitely a top recruit out of St. Louis. And, like I said, we've seen some top guys from St. Louis area, including Miles McVay, who signed with Alabama in the 2023 recruiting class. And, I asked Ryan about Miles if they knew each other. He said, we've known each other since the 7th grade. So they've been, he said that he was around Miles this past weekend, was recruiting him, and certainly wants him to join. And he obviously talked about the success that Alabama's had at the receiver position with so many stars, including Jameson Williams, who's from St. Louis. So, Alabama's got a pretty good track record in that area, and, they're going to continue to try to recruit and see what they can do with Ryan Wingo. But, wide receiver is going to be really interesting in this class, because we know that Alabama had a lot of success recruiting at the receiver position in 2022, had a tremendous class in 2023, with 4 guys. They already have 1 guy right now, Perry Thompson, out of Foley High School, who also in Tuscaloosa this past weekend. In my opinion, he's a very solid commitment, even though he's still taking some visits. But how many wide receivers will Alabama take this year? I think the number is going to be around 3, and that pretty much means there's 2 more spots left. Who's it going to go to? We'll kind of have to wait and see throughout the spring, but there's a lot of guys who have visited Alabama so far, a lot of guys that they're interested in, but probably for the most part, we'll want to see all these guys again in the spring and the summer, then kind of make those final decisions.
Hanging out with Andrew Bone here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, talking recruiting like we do each and every week on the show, and talking about now a guy that I'm really interested in, and I think most of you are as well, and that's 5-star quarterback, maybe the future of Crimson Tide football, Julian saying he is returning to Tuscaloosa in a few weeks. Alabama is still recruiting a few in the 24 class, but they also have their eyes on a few underclassmen. Some of the top guys in town this past weekend include players from the 25 through 27 class. I'm excited about Julian saying, Bone. I know that he's just his presence is gonna convince guys like Wingo to want to come play in Alabama because they want to get the ball thrown to them by him.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see who all is going to be in Tuscaloosa here in a couple of weeks, because Julian Saying is going to fly into Tuscaloosa, spend, I think, March the 20th through March the 23rd at Alabama. It's during his spring break. So, he definitely wants to be in town to, be around the coaches and be around players and get acclimated with everything. I mean, he's been to Tuscaloosa a few times already, so he knows pretty much everything, but, continuing to build that bond with the coaches, especially with Tommy Rees, because he knows Tommy Rees wants to continue to add on to that. But, he loves Coach Saban. No matter who the offensive coordinator is, he wants to play for Coach Saban. I think that's kind of the biggest thing with Julian Saying. Just moved up to 5 stars, according to the On3 Sports player consensus rankings, after getting a big bump after performing at a couple 7-on-7 camps earlier this year. So big to get him already on board in this 2024 class. I'm still kind of intrigued to see who ends, if Alabama ends up taking another quarterback in this class. I think it's still kind of up in the air. I'm not ruling it out yet. I don't think Alabama's ruling it out, even though they signed 2 last year, because you just never know anymore with the transfer portal. There's only one starter at the quarterback position. If people didn't know that. So if you don't end up starting, you end up having guys that end up potentially transferring. I'm not saying that they definitely will. There's always a chance that you might have a player or two end up leaving because they're not playing. So if Julian Saying is the only quarterback in the class, they're certainly going to be going after, more quarterbacks in 2025, 2026, 2027. So, as of right now, I think we're starting to see more offers that are going out to underclassmen. Not as many in the 2024 class, but more offers in the 2025, 2026. And they offered a couple this past weekend. Antoine Hill out of Georgia received an offer. He's in the top 100 and had a lot of, really outstanding things to say about his trip to Alabama. We got Joseph Hastings did a great interview with Antoine Hill this just a few days ago. So it's on the site. Another kid, Jared Curtis, out of Nashville Christian in Tennessee. He received an offer from Alabama on Saturday. He's in the 2026 class. Had a really good freshman season up in Nashville, and really one of the I think he's one of only 3 freshman quarterbacks in the country that have offers from Alabama at his position. So certainly a guy that we'll be following for years to come. And then, one guy that a lot of people already know about in that 2027 class, Trent Seaborn, out of Thompson High School. I don't really like talking too much about 8th graders. I've always kind of been like that. I'm not, and it's more so because of parents reaching out to me, trying to get their kids on the site or get them ranked and all this kind of stuff. And I'm always telling them, listen, just, let your kid get through junior high school, get through maybe your freshman year in high school and kind of see how you do. Once offers start coming, contact me again. But Trent Seaborn's a little different. He ends up getting pulled up on the Thompson High School football team. Already has some offers. Doesn't have an offer from Alabama just yet. Just picked up an offer from Oregon the other day. But led Thompson Class 7A state championship this past season. 4 straight state championships for Thompson. And you can imagine everybody in the state of Alabama is like, crap, we're going to have to play this guy for the next 4 years at the high school level. So, I'm really interested to see, his development, because he's going to get bigger. He's going to get better. I mean, it's hard to play for a better, offensive mind in the state of Alabama than Mark Freeman at Thompson High School. So he's going to be coached really well there, and he's going to have the right people around him in that strength and conditioning staff out there at Thompson High School. And they're going to try to make sure that he is well prepared and well developed over the course of the next few years. But a lot of really good quarterbacks out there that are coming up, and he's certainly one. We're going to see Julian Lewis, potentially the number one quarterback in the country, number one overall player in the country in the 2026 class from Carrollton High School in Georgia. He's going to be visiting Alabama at the end of the month. I think he's set up to visit on March the 30th. So Alabama is an attractive place these days for top end quarterback prospects, and thanks to the development, the success that all these guys have had, and obviously, we're going to see more quarterbacks interested even after Bryce gets drafted here in the next month.
Yep, maybe number one overall. We'll find out. A lot can happen between now and draft day. But I think that he's the best player in the country. I think we all agree he's the best quarterback Alabama's ever had. And that's not putting anyone else down. That just goes to show how good he's been. Well, Bone, this has been a fun show. I mean, we've got to talk about just about everything today. And again, myperfectfranchise.net brings you Recruiting with Andrew Bone. And it's been fun.
Yeah, absolutely, Mick. Always great to catch up with you, and hope everyone has a great week. We did the show a little, we've been doing it on Wednesday nights the last few weeks, but able to get together here on this Tuesday. A lot going on this week, especially on BamaInsider.com. We've got a lot of great content on there. Our entire staff putting in a lot of good work. I just posted our that insider report earlier today, so certainly encourage everyone to go check that out, because if you want everything there is to know about the junior day this past weekend and kind of where things stand with all these recruits, Jimmy Stein's got a great story going on right now with the spring roster countdown, with spring practice starting up in a few weeks. He's been breaking down the top players entering spring practice. Clint Lamb kind of did a little look at the recent roster height and weights, and we all know that Joseph Hastings is producing a ton of great interviews every single day on the site from different recruits that he's been speaking with. So go check us out on Bama Insider. Go hang out with us on the message board. If you got a question for me, go ask me on the message board. Just click the forum at the top, go to Talk of Champions. I'm there all day, every day. So come hang out with us. And if not, we'll see you on the show next Tuesday night.
Awesome. Great time. Don't forget, you can catch Andrew Bone, Joseph Hastings. You can get on the message board with Jimmy Stein, Clint Lamb, our entire crew, BamaInsider.com, $29.99. That's coverage all the time. So you don't have to wait until Tuesday or Wednesday to find out about recruiting. That's all on there, updated constantly. $29.99 from today until August 31st, or $9.99 a month. Try it and check it out. And we love seeing you here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, comment section. Great to see you guys as well. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the bell. So when we go live, you're there with us and share with your friends. We really appreciate you guys being here and hanging out. Chris Daughtry, another fine job behind the scenes. And for Andrew Bone and Mr. Kyle Henderson, the guy that puts all this together, our entire On3 crew back in Nashville, I'm Mick Gillispie. We'll talk to you again next week. Roll Tide.